All right, so today we're diving deep into autophagy.
Ooh, autophagy.
And we're going to be looking at what a 72-hour fast could actually do.
Okay.
So are you ready to unpack the science behind this whole cellular self-eating process?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Because it's generating a lot of buzz, and we're going to see if it lives up to the hype.
Okay.
From immune system regeneration
Right.
to possible anti-aging effects.
Uh-huh.
We even got some research from Nobel Prize winners in the mix, so, it's serious stuff.
Wow, Nobel Prize winners.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Okay.
So what do you think is so captivating about this whole idea of autophagy?
Well, what's really interesting is how it challenges our understanding of what our bodies can actually do. It's not just this passive system.
Right.
It's an active process of renewal, and it's happening at the cellular level.
So instead of just like wearing down over time,
Right.
our cells are actually designed to regenerate themselves?
Yeah.
I'm hooked already.
It's pretty amazing.
So what exactly is going on in there?
Well, imagine like a cellular recycling system.
Okay.
Like damaged parts,
Yeah.
old proteins, even pathogens. They all get broken down.
Okay.
It's kind of like taking out the trash and then using those components to build something new and improved.
Wow.
So that's autophagy in a nutshell.
Okay.
And it happens in 4 stages.
All right. Lay it on me.
So we got initiation, which is where the cell identifies what needs to be recycled.
Okay.
Then we got nucleation and expansion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this little like vesicle forms around the waste product.
Gotcha.
Then there's maturation and fusion. And this is where the vesicle gets bigger and joins with a lysosome, which is like the cell's like recycling center.
Okay.
And then finally degradation and recycling, where everything gets broken down and reused.
So it's like a whole little miniature factory happening inside every single one of our cells.
Exactly.
That's pretty incredible.
It is.
Okay, so you've painted a pretty clear picture of how it works.
Okay.
But you mentioned fasting as the trigger.
Specifically, a 72-hour fast.
That's right.
How does going without food for that long kickstart this whole process?
Well, it's all about metabolic shifts.
Okay.
When you fast, your insulin and glucose levels, they drop,
Mhm.
signaling to your body that it's time to switch fuel sources.
Okay.
So it moves from burning glucose to burning fat,
Right.
entering a state called ketosis.
Uh,
And this metabolic shift is a key signal for autophagy to ramp up.
hold on.
Yeah.
So our body starts eating its own fat.
Well, yeah, essentially.
And in the process, it triggers this intense cellular cleanup.
Yes.
That's wild.
It is pretty wild.
So what's the timeline for this process
Right.
during those 72 hours?
So it's a very carefully orchestrated sequence.
Okay.
So the first 12 hours,
Yeah.
your body is mainly using stored glycogen for energy.
Okay.
Between 12 and 24 hours, those glycogen stores start to run low,
Right.
and that's when the shift to fat burning begins.
Okay.
This is where things get interesting.
Okay. I'm looking from 24 to 48 hours, you enter deeper ketosis, and autophagy really starts to accelerate.
Wow.
And then from 48 to 72 hours,
Yeah.
you reach peak autophagy.
Autophagy.
But what's really exciting is this later stage is dominated by a type of autophagy called chaperone-mediated autophagy, or CMA.
CMA.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds important, but why?
Yeah.
What's so special about this particular kind of autophagy,
Okay.
especially in those later stages of the fast?
What's fascinating about CMA is that it's incredibly specific.
Okay.
It targets damaged proteins,
Mm-hmm.
particularly those that accumulate with age and contribute to things like neurodegenerative diseases.
Right.
Think of it like a specialized cleanup crew going after the most dangerous culprits in our cells.
Oh.
This is where the research of Dr. Anna Maria Cuervo comes in.
Okay.
She's been a pioneer in understanding CMA and how it plays a crucial role in protecting our brains as we age.
So it's not just a general cleanup. It's almost like a targeted strike against the specific things that cause our cells to age and malfunction.
Exactly.
That's pretty remarkable.
It is pretty remarkable.
Okay, now we've got to talk about the scientists behind all this.
All right.
Didn't a researcher actually win a Nobel Prize for figuring out how autophagy works?
Absolutely.
All right.
That was Dr. Yoshinori Ohsumi.
Okay.
His groundbreaking work with yeast cells revealed the core mechanisms of autophagy, which turned out to be incredibly similar to how it works in human cells.
Wow.
His findings essentially opened the floodgates for research into this fascinating process.
So that was a huge turning point.
It really was.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And speaking of leading researchers, you mentioned Dr. Valter Longo earlier.
Yes.
His work seems to focus on the potential health benefits of prolonged fasting, right?
That's right.
What exactly has he found?
Well, Dr. Longo's research suggests that prolonged fasting can actually stimulate the regeneration of immune cells.
Wow.
Imagine hitting the reset button on your immune system, clearing out older damaged cells
Right.
and making way for new healthy ones.
That's amazing.
His findings are pretty groundbreaking,
Yeah.
and they suggest that fasting could be a powerful tool for boosting immunity and potentially even reversing some of the age-related decline in immune function.
Okay, now you've got me really intrigued.
Yeah, okay, good.
Immune system regeneration.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I know, right?
This is definitely starting to sound like more than just a fad diet.
Way more.
There are some pretty serious scientists backing this up.
Absolutely.
And we can't forget about Dr. David Sinclair,
Of course not.
who's been connecting autophagy with anti-aging and potentially even extending lifespan.
That's right. His work is fascinating.
This is all starting to feel like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It kind of is.
So we're not just talking about feeling better or boosting our immune system.
No,
We're
right.
talking about potentially slowing down the aging process itself.
The implications are certainly significant.
Wow.
If autophagy is truly as powerful as the research suggests,
Right.
it could revolutionize how we approach health and longevity.
That would be incredible.
It would.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, let's stay grounded.
We still need to understand the specifics of what a 72-hour fast can do,
Right.
the potential benefits,
Yeah.
and also any risks that we need to be aware of.
Of course, we have to cover that too.
All right, you've piqued my curiosity.
Good.
Let's get into the details.
Okay.
What can a 72-hour fast actually do for our bodies?
All right, right.
Let's explore that. And is it all it's cracked up to be?
Let's find out.
Welcome back to our deep dive into autophagy.
Yeah,
We've just scratched the surface of this fascinating process,
we have.
and I'm ready to keep exploring.
Okay.
But before we do, what's the one thing you'd say is most crucial for our listener to remember about autophagy from our previous discussion?
You know what I think the most important thing to remember is the connection to our evolutionary past.
Okay.
Autophagy isn't some new fad.
Right.
It's a primal survival mechanism that helped our ancestors thrive in times of scarcity.
Wow.
It's a testament to our body's innate ability to adapt and renew itself.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that fasting isn't this extreme measure.
No, not at all.
It's actually tapping into a very natural process.
Yeah.
That's built into our biology.
Exactly.
We're essentially rediscovering an ancient wisdom.
I love that.
Yeah.
Rediscovering an ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by understanding the science behind it,
Uh-huh.
we can make informed choices about leveraging this ancient wisdom for our modern lives.
I like that.
It's about taking control of our health and tapping into our body's inherent ability to heal.
I love how you put that. It's
Yeah.
empowering.
It is.
Okay, now let's get back to those specific benefits of a 72-hour fast.
Okay.
You mentioned a carefully timed sequence of events that unfold during those 3 days.
Yes.
Can you walk us through those stages again?
Certainly remember those first 12 hours are all about using up your stored glycogen,
Okay.
the quick energy source.
Right.
As those stores deplete between hours 12 and 24, insulin levels drop, and the body starts transitioning into fat-burning mode.
Right. That's when things start to get really interesting from an autophagy perspective, isn't it?
Exactly. As you enter deeper ketosis between 24 and 48 hours, autophagy really ramps up.
Wow.
Then during the final stretch between 48 and 72 hours, you hit peak autophagy
Autophagy.
with CMA, that specialized chaperone-mediated autophagy, taking center stage.
Now you're emphasizing CMA again. Why is this specific type of autophagy so crucial, especially during those later stages of the fast? Why should our listener care about CMA?
Remember those damaged proteins we talked about?
Yeah.
The ones that contribute to aging and neurodegenerative diseases?
Right.
CMA is like a precision strike team,
Okay.
targeting those specific culprits. It's incredibly selective, going after the troublemakers that can wreak havoc in our cells if left unchecked.
Oh, wow.
And what's really remarkable is that fasting enhances the efficiency of CMA, making it even more effective at clearing out these potentially harmful proteins.
Hold on. So it's not just about triggering autophagy in general.
Right.
It's about specifically amplifying this targeted cleanup process
Exactly.
that becomes even more important as we age.
Precisely. And this is where the research of Dr. Cuerho becomes so significant.
Okay.
She's shown that CMA activity actually declines as we get older,
Uh-huh.
which coincides with the increased accumulation of damaged proteins. But fasting can counteract this decline, giving ourselves a fighting chance to stay healthy and functional for longer.
This is starting to sound like a potential fountain of youth.
Well,
So are you suggesting that incorporating fasting, even periodically, could be a strategy for slowing down the aging process?
The research certainly points in that direction.
Wow.
If we can harness the power of autophagy, particularly CMA, to clear out those damaging proteins, we might be able to delay the onset of conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Yeah.
It's a game changer for how we approach healthy aging.
This is all incredibly fascinating, but I have to admit sometimes I get lost in the science. Can we make this more tangible for our listener? How does autophagy actually make you feel? What are the real-world effects people experience?
That's a great question, and it's important to move beyond the theoretical.
Yeah.
Many people who practice prolonged fasting report feeling more energized and mentally sharper. There's often an improvement in mood and a greater sense of well-being.
So it's not just about preventing disease down the road.
No,
It's about feeling better in the here and now.
absolutely, and this makes sense when you consider the metabolic changes happening during a fast.
Yeah.
As we switch from burning sugar to burning fat,
Yeah.
our bodies become more metabolically flexible, we can access and utilize energy more efficiently, which translates to greater stamina and mental clarity.
Okay, so our bodies are becoming more efficient, machines running cleaner and smoother.
Exactly.
But what about the other side of the coin?
Yeah.
We need to address the potential downsides, right? A 72-hour fast is a pretty significant undertaking.
You're right, it's crucial to be realistic about the challenges.
Right.
Well, many people experience positive effects.
Yeah.
Some might feel headaches, fatigue, or dizziness.
Right.
And for certain individuals, like those with specific health conditions or pregnant or breastfeeding women, prolonged fasting is not recommended.
So it's not for everyone, and it's not a quick fix.
No.
It's about understanding the potential benefits and risks.
Yes.
And making informed choices based on your individual needs and circumstances.
Exactly. And that's why it's crucial to consult with a healthcare professional before embarking on any prolonged fast,
Yeah.
especially if you have underlying health conditions or are taking medications.
All right. Safety first now for those who are intrigued by the potential of autophagy,
Yeah.
but maybe not ready for a full 72-hour fast. Are there other ways to tap into those benefits?
There are definitely more gradual approaches.
Okay.
Intermittent fasting, which involves cycling between periods of eating and fasting, can be a gentler way to stimulate autophagy.
Okay.
For example, you could try time-restricted feeding, where you limit your eating window to a certain number of hours each day.
So instead of abstaining from food for 3 whole days,
Right.
you might just condense your eating into, say, an 8-hour window each day.
Yeah, exactly.
And that can still trigger autophagy.
Yes, research suggests that even shorter fasting periods can activate autophagy and provide some of the same benefits,
Yeah.
although perhaps not to the same extent as a prolonged fast. It's a great option for people who want to ease into the practice or incorporate it into their lifestyle more gradually.
This is great news.
Yeah.
It makes the whole concept of autophagy and fasting more approachable and less intimidating.
Absolutely.
But before we move on, is there anything else we need to cover regarding a 72-hour fast?
One final point I think is crucial is the mindset shift that often accompanies a prolonged fast.
Okay.
It's not just about abstaining from food.
Right.
It's about embracing the experience as an opportunity for self-discovery and a deeper connection with your body.
So it's not about deprivation or punishment.
Yeah.
What about intentionally creating space for inner exploration?
Precisely. It's about shifting your perspective from seeing fasting as a challenge to seeing it as a gift, a chance to tap into your inner resilience and unlock your body's incredible healing potential.
I love that reframing.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off and turns it into something much more empowering.
Exactly. It's about listening to your body's wisdom and honoring its needs.
This has been such an illuminating conversation. We've covered so much ground, from the cellular mechanisms of autophagy to the potential benefits and challenges of a 72-hour fast. I'm feeling energized and inspired to explore this further.
Welcome back to our deep dive into autophagy.
It's been quite a journey.
We've really gone deep on this one, haven't we?
Yeah.
From cells cleaning house to the potential of a 72-hour fast, it's been a fascinating journey.
And we've uncovered some remarkable insights about our body's ability to heal and renew itself.
We definitely have. But before we wrap things up, I want to make sure our listener has a clear takeaway. If they only remember one thing about autophagy, what should it be?
I think the one thing is that it's happening right now inside each of us. Oh, wow.
Constantly working to keep us healthy.
So
It's like a built-in system of checks and balances, making sure our cells are functioning at their best.
it's almost like our body's own personal cleanup crew
Exactly.
working behind the scenes.
Yeah,
And we've learned that we can actually give this crew a boost through fasting.
that's right.
It's like calling in the specialists for a deep clean.
Exactly. And the potential benefits of this cellular spring cleaning are pretty remarkable,
Right.
from a stronger immune system to potential anti-aging effects and even protection against neurodegenerative diseases.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
It does.
But we've also been careful to acknowledge that fasting isn't a magic bullet, and it's not for everyone. It's important to approach it with caution and seek guidance from a healthcare professional if you have any concerns.
Oh, absolutely. Safety should always come first. But for those who are healthy and able to fast, it can be a powerful tool for optimizing their health and well-being.
So for our listener who's now armed with all this knowledge about autophagy, where do they go from here? What would you encourage them to explore?
Well, I would encourage them to just start by paying attention to their bodies. Notice how you feel after meals, how your energy levels fluctuate throughout the day, how different foods affect you. It's about developing a deeper awareness of your internal landscape.
So it's about tuning in to those subtle signals our bodies are sending us all the time. We've become so disconnected from that inner wisdom.
Exactly. And once you start paying attention, you can experiment with different approaches to supporting autophagy. Maybe it's trying a shorter fast, incorporating intermittent fasting into your routine, or just being more mindful of your eating habits in general.
It's like embarking on a journey of self-discovery, using autophagy as a guide to a healthier and more vibrant life.
I love that analogy. It's not about following a rigid set of rules, but about finding what works best for you and honoring your body's unique needs.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener, hasn't it? I'm walking away with a newfound appreciation for the power of autophagy and the incredible potential it holds for transforming our health and well-being.
I couldn't agree more. It's truly remarkable what our bodies are capable of when we give them the support they need.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our exploration of autophagy. But before we go, I want to leave our listener with one final thought to ponder. What if consciously incorporating fasting periods, even in small ways, could be a key to unlocking greater health and resilience in our modern world? It's something to think about as you continue your own journey of discovery. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.